Good evening and welcome to Middle High Energy Cooperative's annual meeting. It's great to see you all. Let's the program start by calling the annual meeting of members to order. I'd like to take a moment to recognize a special group with us tonight. Those working in a potential hazardous environment to perform a job that is critical to our daily lives. The linemen of Middle High Energy. Yesterday was Lineman Appreciation Day. However, we're thankful every day that these individuals are committed to working around the clock, often in poor conditions, to make sure your lights come on when you flip the switch. Please join me in giving our linemen a round of applause. In 2022, longtime Marion Rural Electric lineman Leo Stover passed away. Let us take a moment to remember Leo. On behalf of the cooperative, I'd like to extend my condolences to Leo's friends and family. His service has a lasting impact on the co-op. At this time, I'd like to introduce President and CEO John Metcalf. John will present the proof of mailing.
Thank you, John. Good evening, everybody. This is to prove that on the 23rd day of March 2023, we did place in the United States Mail at the post office at Pontiac, Illinois, 6,861 copies of the Mid-Ohio Energy Cooperative's edition of the April 2023 issue of Ohio Cooperative Living magazine, with the official notice of the annual meeting appearing on page 18. I'll now turn the podium back to Chairman Thiel.
In your registration bag, there is a pack of green sheets containing the minutes from last year's annual meeting. Do I have a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes? Is there a second? All those in favor of dispensing with the reading of the minutes signify by saying aye. Those opposed, same sign. Are there any addition or correction to the minutes? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve the minutes as printed? Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Now we'll introduce your Board of Trustees.
Electric cooperatives are guided by 7 core principles, which set them apart from other service providers. One of those principles, democratic member control, applies to your member-elected Board of Trustees. Trustees play an important role in the guiding of your cooperative and are responsible for cooperative policies, rates, and contracts. The following members form your co-op's current Board of Trustees. District 1, Tony Hastings. Tony was elected to the board in 2018. District 1 represents approximately 643 meters. District 2, Bryce Turner. Bryce was elected to the board in 2018. District 2 represents approximately 622 meters. District 3, Trevor Fremont. Trevor was elected to the board in 2018. District 3 represents approximately 767 meters. District 4, Curtis Byers. In January, Curtis was selected to fill the remainder of the current District 4 term. District 4 represents approximately 695 meters. District 5, Howard Lyle. Howard was elected to the board in 2019. District 5 represents approximately 1,233 meters. District 6, Paul Beinecke. Paul was elected to the board in 2019. District 6 represents approximately 1,290 meters. District 7, Jean McClure. Jean was elected to the board in 1985. District 7 represents approximately 1,204 meters. District 8, John Thiel. John was elected to the board in 1988. District 8 represents approximately 946 meters. District 9, Robert Imbody. Robert was elected to the board in 2011. District 9 represents approximately 756 meters. Board members are elected to serve 3-year terms. They are ambassadors for our rural communities, focusing on the challenges and needs of the membership.
At the end of 2000, I go ahead of myself here. It's been a truly, well, I'm right. At the end of 2022, longtime trustee Dan Harris resigned his position as District 4 trustee. Before we proceed to the nominating report, we'd like to thank Dan for his service as a member of the board.
At the end of 2022, longtime trustee Dan Harris resigned from his position as District 4 representative on Mid-Ohio Energy's Board of Trustees. Mid-Ohio Energy is thankful for the steady leadership, experience, and fellowship that Dan provided during his time on the board. Dan first joined the board of Marion Rural Electric in 1986. And served for a total of 36 years. Dan was no stranger to the electric industry when he first joined the board. He worked for his father's business, Carl Harris Electric, before assuming management of the company years later. He would proceed to run Harris Electric for 44 years. During his tenure as a co-op trustee, Dan served multiple roles on the board's leadership team, including 2 terms as both chairman and vice chairman of the board. He served as the board's chair from 2010-2011 and 2020 to 2022. In his stint as chairman, he helped co-navigate and adapt to the challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic. Dan led the virtual annual meeting in 2021 and had the privilege of welcoming members back in person for the 2022 annual meeting. Major initiatives from Dan's 3.5 decades on the board include the merger of Marion and United Electric Cooperatives, replacement of the system's original poles and lines, installation of advanced metering infrastructure, and office construction and renovation projects. Reflecting on his time at the co-op, Harris said he enjoyed the camaraderie with members, trustees, and employees. "I was always proud that the board worked together through the years," said Harris, noting that it helped to have everyone working toward a common goal, to benefit the co-op's membership. "You have to be willing to work for what's best for everyone, not just yourself," says Harris. He encouraged fellow members to be involved with their co-op in any capacity, saying those members that came before me had a big influence in my attitude toward the co-op. You have to have a sense of duty and selflessness. Throughout his time on the board, Harris embodied those very concepts. "I enjoyed being able to take actions for the benefit of fellow members. It's a good feeling to see those decisions pay off in the form of reliability or better service," says Harris. Mid-Ohio Energy expresses our sincere appreciation for the 36 years of work and leadership that Dan has dedicated to shaping the cooperative we know today.
It's truly been a pleasure to work alongside Dan as a trustee over the years. He has a great attitude and has been a great ambassador for the electric cooperative program. Dan, if you will please come to the stage, we have a plaque to commemorate your service.
I was just a member of the board. All those things did happen while I was a member of the board, and we have a very good board to continue, and we've always had a very good board. We've always had good members and good employees. Our employees, our linemen, our office workers, our president and CEO, everyone has been great to work with, and I really appreciate being a part of that organization. Thank you.
Let's have another round of applause for Dan. Thanks again for all you've done for the co-op.
Good evening. I'm Joanne Shelton, and I'm representing the nominating committee this evening. I would like to acknowledge the members of the nominating committee along with the districts they represent. District 1, Craig Egling. District 2, Dan Barton. District 3, Scott Demmett. District 4, Neil Blair. District 3, Derek Snyder. I represent District 6. District 7, Mark Lowry. District 8, John Wagner. District 9, Arden Ruth. And Attorney Tom Seeley. Please join us in giving these folks a round of applause. The nominating committee met first on September 23rd, 2022 to review the nominating process. We met again on January 20th, 2023 to select candidates for the Board of Trustees to represent Districts 7, 8, and 9. I would like to note that a member participant is critical to your co-op's democratic process. The next time you receive a trustee interest card, please take a few moments to consider entering the nominating process. We rely on members like you to take active role in the co-op's future. Please turn your attention to the screen for a video introduction of the candidates for election.
In March, each member was mailed a voter information packet with details for voting in this year's trustee election. This method, which allows members to vote by mail or online balloting, offers each member a voice in the operation of your cooperative. Each year, 3 of the cooperative's 9 districts are up for election. Upon election, candidates serve a 3-year term on the cooperative's board. The 2022-23 nominating process was carried out according to the co-op's bylaws. However, no eligible members submitted their name as a candidate for nomination in District 8 nor District 9. Therefore, only the listed incumbent trustee candidates are listed in these districts. The candidates for the 2023 trustee election are the following: In District 7, Jean McClure of Harrod, Ben Boucher of Harrod. In District 8, John Thiel of Marion. In District 9, Robert Embody of LaRue. We would like to thank each candidate for his time and participation in this election process.
Would Attorney Tom Seeley of Schumer, Markley, McKinney, and Seeley Law Office come forward to announce the results of the election and administer the oath of office?
Good evening, folks. My name's Tom Seeley. I'm the attorney that works with the nominating committee, and I'm here this evening to announce the results of the election. I'd like to let you folks know that we contracted with East Base Communications from Dublin, Ohio, and that company received and counted the ballots for this election, and the winners of the election will be elected to a 3-year term on our Board of Trustees. I have reviewed and validated the results of this election, and I'm pleased to present those results to you this evening. First, there were 863 ballots cast in the election this year, and that represents 12% of the voting members. The winner of the election are as follows. For District 7, Mr. Jean McClure. For District 8, Mr. John Thiel. And for District 9, Mr. Robert Embody. Congratulations, gentlemen. Please come forward so that I may administer the oath of office. All right, thank you, gentlemen. Would you please raise your right hands? Having been elected trustee of Mid-Ohio Energy Cooperative, Inc., do you solemnly swear to perform the duties as trustee of the cooperative to the best of your ability and uphold the laws, regulations, and constitutions of the United States of America, the state of Ohio, and the articles of incorporation and the code of regulations of this cooperative? If so, please say, I will. All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. Congratulations. Thank you, folks. At this time, I'll turn the podium back over to John Metcalf.
Thank you, Tom. As Joanne mentioned earlier in the nominating committee report, we truly depend on our members' participation in the democratic control of your cooperative. And involved and active membership is a sign of a healthy cooperative. I'd like to invite you to consider participating in the nomination process and, or reaching out to your cooperative to discuss ways you could get involved. I'd also like to recognize the members who participate in our Grassroots Political Action Committee. The program formerly known as ACRE has been rebranded to America's Electric Cooperatives Political Action Committee. This change was made to help policymakers identify electric co-ops and their unique causes. The PAC supports political candidates who will speak and protect the interests of electric co-ops and the rural members. As we talk with our local and national representatives, we frequently hear how influential your support is, and it comes to shaping policies that defend rural communities and our way of life. Next on the program, I'm pleased to introduce Kevin Zemanek. He's the Assistant Vice President of Engineering and Operations for Ohio's Electric Cooperatives to provide an update of the cooperative program at a statewide level. Kevin joined OEC in 2004 and currently works to oversee market operations, risk management, field engineering, and facilities management of Ohio's electric cooperatives. He received a bachelor's degree in computer engineering technology and a master's degree in engineering management from the University of Dayton. Our statewide organization does a fantastic job staying up to date with power markets and generation transmission of electricity. and Kevin is a vital part of those efforts. Please join me in welcoming Kevin to the podium.
Thank you, John. Hello and good evening to everyone. Thanks for having me at Mid-Ohio's annual meeting tonight. I'm here representing Buckeye Power and Ohio's electric cooperatives. So we are the power supplier and the statewide services organization for all of Ohio's electric cooperatives. So I'm here to give an update on a lot of things we've all witnessed over the last year and a few of the market trends that we've been watching. So if we're looking back at 2022, it was definitely a year that brought a lot of challenges. So things from volatility in fuel prices, high inflation on almost everything that we're all trying to buy out there, supply chain disruptions and long lead time on electrical equipment, and severe weather events that caused widespread system disruptions. So even with these challenges, Ohio's electric cooperatives performed really well, keeping the lights on, making repairs when outages did occur, and holding the cost increases to a minimum. So as we go forward from today, our mission has not changed. Our commitment to you has not wavered. But the reality is providing a safe, reliable, affordable, and environmentally responsible power supply is getting more challenging. Across the country, we are facing a disorderly retirement of baseload coal and nuclear power plants, stemming primarily from poorly conceived and harmful energy policies that include overreaching and unresponsible environmental regulations that result in high costs but have minimal environmental benefits, poorly designed market rules that undercompensate reliable baseload power plants that provide steady on-demand output, and unreasonable goals and timeframes to achieve greater reductions in carbon emissions. So all this has contributed to making the power grid less reliable over the years instead of more reliable, and this was evidenced especially during severe cold weather like this past Christmas. So during that weekend, the grid operator for our region, PJM, used all emergency steps they had available, short of just ordering rolling blackouts. So all of that was needed just to maintain the power grid, and just south of us in Kentucky, Tennessee, and North Carolina, they actually had to resort to rolling blackouts over Christmas to make sure that the power grid in their area didn't collapse. So we have seen similar events like this in recent years in California, Texas, and even last summer down in Columbus. The integrity of the national and regional electric grid is at risk and only can get better if we make a change in the course. So reliable, affordable, environmentally responsible power is our commitment to you, and you should expect that from our government as well. Ohio's electric cooperatives are making this known to our elected officials in Washington, D.C. and right here in Ohio. We're getting help from our National Association of Rural Electric Cooperatives as well. And Ohio's electric cooperatives have launched a statewide initiative called REAL, trying to focus on the importance of reliable, environmentally responsible, and affordable power for our local communities. We are working to educate and inform not only our co-op members, but all Ohioans that reliable power must be a priority. So I'm sure all of you have heard the voices pushing for a carbon-free environment. Of course, we all want a cleaner world for future generations, and we are getting there. Emissions of all types have decreased dramatically over the past several years, but we should not and need not sacrifice reliable, affordable power today. So the history of the electric cooperatives can be our guide through this process. It was founded when neighbors worked together to bring electricity to the rural communities. Today, it's about working together to keep the reliable, affordable electricity on all day, every day. So with that, I appreciate all of you you're taking time to participate in Mid-Ohio's annual meeting, participating in the future of the co-ops, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you all tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. For 87 years, all of you, our members, have trusted us to energize your homes and your way of life. Although we call this gathering our annual meeting, it's really a celebration for you, our member owners. First, I'd like to kick off our celebration, as Chairman Thiel did, by thanking our employee team for a job well done for another challenging year. No matter the time of day nor the weather conditions, our employees work tirelessly to ensure that your electricity is always available when you need it the most. We are lucky to have such incredible people working behind the scenes to power your homes, your businesses, and your communities. Through whatever else comes our way in the coming year, your Cooperative's employees and board are here to keep your power on and to serve you, our member owners. Mid-Ohio Energy's employees are a motivated, talented, well-trained, hardworking team. And I would like to pause and recognize my colleagues for an incredible efforts over this past year. Will you please join me in a round of applause? A year ago, I stood before you and reported on several challenges facing your electric cooperative. Issues such as the COVID pandemic, supply chain restrictions, technologies such as electric vehicles and battery storage, rural broadband, and how other companies attach to your cooperative's poles, just to name a few. Please allow me to spend a brief moment to update you on these topics as well as expand on some new ones. As with most other businesses, we are adapting to the new COVID work environment we are faced with. It appears that COVID's here to stay, and we have learned how to manage the situation when employees become ill with the virus. Fortunately, it seems that the COVID variants are not as potent as the original strain, and our employees typically do very well coping with the virus. Your board and management are continuously monitoring and adapting to the COVID virus and plan to continue to do so in the future. Last year, I discussed how breakdowns in the electric utility sector supply chain were having a negative impact on your cooperative. While some supply chain issues have improved since last year, we are still finding challenges, especially with unique electrical equipment, as well as the large vehicles such as bucket and digger trucks. I'll cover this subject in greater detail in a moment. As far as emerging technologies, we continue to see very slight growth in the adoption of electric vehicles within Mid-Ohio Energy service area. More urban serving utilities seem to be experiencing higher electric vehicle adoption, most likely due to the public charging infrastructure available in the heavier populated areas. Last summer, Mid-Ohio Energy installed its first public level 2 electric vehicle charger right here at Elgin, out here in the parking lot, and plan to install another one in the coming months at the Ridgedale School campus. If you're thinking about making a purchase of an electric vehicle, please know that we can offer a rebate for your car's charger at your home. Please call or stop at our offices or go to our website for more details. And finally, I would like to update you on the rural broadband activities within Mid-Ohio Energy service territory over the past year. Since my last update in last April, several communication companies have been active extending fiber broadband services in the area, and we encourage that expansion as long as it's done in the proper way and provides our members with low-cost access to high-speed internet services. Over 5,200 Mid-Ohio Energy poles have recently been contacted by these communication companies extending fiber optic cabling for broadband services. A few thousand more contacts are currently being requested by these communication companies, and so far, just over 20% of the poles owned by the cooperative have recently been contacted. While these communication companies are physically installing the fiber optic lines, these projects are stressing our internal manpower resources, and here's why. Each Mid-Ohio Energy pole being contacted is required to be evaluated to ensure that the structure maintains compliance with the National Electrical Safety Code in both terms of clearances and strength capacity. When additional conductors such as fiber optic lines are added, the additional conductor must maintain certain clearances not only above the ground, but between the new conductor and Mid-Ohio Energy's equipment. Our staff must perform calculations on each attached pole to make sure that ice and wind loading forces of the new attached conductor does not exceed the pole strength that could cause it to break during adverse weather conditions. If the new attached conductor does not meet our criteria, the pole must be replaced with a bigger diameter or taller pole. This requires a lot of time to accomplish by our employees, but we are rising to the challenge. While we would like to see every Mid-Ohio Energy member receive high-speed internet, we must also ensure that our members are not somehow subsidizing these communication companies. Each contacting company is required to reimburse Mid-Ohio Energy for its cost associated with these fiber expansion projects before any attachment occurs. And as I mentioned earlier, I would like to spend some time discussing supply chain challenges that we've been dealing with since our last annual meeting. Today, our country's critical infrastructure, including our electrical grid, is facing a very challenging time. This moment for our country is different as it's ever been, meaning we cannot draft off of our predecessors' experiences, but instead, we must create new ideas and solutions for the issues we currently face. I feel where we are today as a nation has been years in the making. However, the pandemic revealed that global issues now have local effects, especially with our country's supply chain. Mid-Ohio Energy, as well as the entire utility sector in the U.S., is now feeling the full effects of our industry's supply chain constraints. As you may remember in recent articles that was published in Cooperative Living magazine, supply chain issues are growing and are extending lead times for materials as well as driving prices to a premium on many industry-unique materials. Let's spend a moment to look at the transformers we utilize at your home as well as in our substations. As you might know, the physics of an electrical distribution system is to transmit electricity at higher voltages. This allows the utility to reduce the physical wire size needed to meet the electrical demand of the area so not to overload the structures such as poles needed to hold the wires up through your community. Higher voltages also reduces the electrical losses in order to maintain adequate voltage at your service. Electrical transformers are required to step the voltage up or down as needed. These transformers come in different sizes and configurations, but they all have one thing in common. They require electrical grade steel. Transformers and electric motors require a special steel to produce the internal core for the windings within a transformer, as well as the stators or rotors assemblies within a motor. The electrical grade steel utilized in these components are known as grain-oriented electrical steel and non-grain-oriented electrical steel. Both are utilized in transformers and motors for their magnetic properties, and depending on the efficiency requirements is which of these steel grades that will be used. In other words, this is the steel that makes transformers and motors work. A year and a half ago, you could have pointed to the lack of shipping ports in the U.S. to receive goods into our country, with hundreds of ships lined up waiting to enter our ports as the supply chain bottleneck. But today, the transportation bottleneck seems to be corrected, but instead, it is that our product demand simply exceeds our supply. Just like we witnessed with the lack of domestic manufacturing of computer chips, the same is true for electrical grade steel in the United States. Currently, there is only one domestic manufacturer of grain and non-grain oriented steel. That means that every transformer and every electric motor manufactured in the U.S. is likely waiting in line for the electrical grade steel from that manufacturer. In the electric utility sector, we are now competing with renewable energy projects, electric vehicle and charging infrastructure build-outs, large technology projects such as data centers and blockchain mining projects for our transformers, our copper, electrical steel, and other components needed to produce and distribute electricity. This is in addition to the equipment that is needed for replacement in areas struck from time to time by natural disasters such as floods, hurricanes, and tornadoes. While production of these materials have increased substantially over the last few years, annual growth of these components has been increasing 5 to 7% and is estimated to maintain that pace for the foreseeable future, leaving nearly a 50% gap currently between demand and supply, according to some experts. The result is longer lead times and higher cost. Since 2020, the average time it takes to receive a distribution transformer like the one supplying power at your home rose by 443%. The lead time for a typical substation transformer have also rose significantly, many now taking 3 years or more to receive once ordered. Recently, we have found that several large investor-owned utilities such as AEP are now buying up production slots at the transformer manufacturers over the next several years, forcing transformer manufacturers to charge a premium to customers who need a production slot now for a large transformer. Many times, that premium cost is hundreds of thousands of dollars over and above the cost of the transformer unit. Similar production issues exist with poles, wire, and even our fleet equipment. A bucket or digger truck now takes 5 years or more to receive once we order. This is an issue your cooperative never faced, even during World War II, when we could not buy copper for our lines and our fuel was rationed for our vehicles. To make matters even worse, our federal government is currently proposing stricter regulations on some of the items I just mentioned, such as poles and transformers. The Department of Energy recently published a proposed energy efficiency rule that aims to cut carbon emissions that, if passed, would go into effect in 2027. This standard would require utilities to replace a significant amount of the transformers currently in service just to meet the new standard, and would force transformer manufacturers to make dramatic changes to how transformers are produced, thus compounding the current supply chain problems even more. The same thing is happening with the manufacturing of wood poles we use in the U.S. The EPA is constantly changing the rules on the chemical properties of the treatment used to make poles last. Producing the wood needed to make the utility pole is not the problem, but complying with the environmental requirements for the pole treatment is the problem. These rules are currently being made by agencies within our federal government that are causing manufacturers of steel, transformers, and poles to feel uneasy, and they are not willing to make large investments required to expand production of these products without guarantees from the government that the rules are not going to change again and again. This uncertainty is the very thing that contributes to our nation's supply chain problems. In fact, several federal agencies, including the Department of Defense, has identified the supply chain issues within the electric utility sector as a risk to national security. So how are we facing this issue? First, we're trying to maintain a higher inventory levels of those hard-to-get items. We are being proactive with our fleet and equipment purchases in a similar fashion to how we manage our electrical distribution systems by developing multi-year purchasing plans. We are leveraging our national network of electric cooperatives to extend our purchasing power. The Electric Cooperative Program maintains a network of distribution warehouses for electrical supplies and even owns a transformer factory to produce small and mid-sized transformers. We are also keeping an aggressive maintenance schedule to help our distribution assets last longer and still maintain excellent reliability. Your board and employees are taking a proactive approach to try to shield our members from global supply chain challenges. Through our 87-year history, we have weathered many challenges. While these challenges are unique and there is not a playbook that we can follow, I am confident that we will work through these supply chain issues and become a stronger co-op as a result. As I mentioned in the beginning, this meeting is a celebration of you, our member owners. Let's celebrate that we are all a part of Electric Cooperative Network that is focused on our members' needs first and utilize national resources to support these efforts. Our network is focused on safe, reliable, and affordable electric service and not on profit. I feel as long as we stick to our cooperative principles, our future will be bright. Thank you again for coming out tonight to your annual meeting.
Is there any unfinished or new business to come before the members of Middle High Energy Cooperative? Seeing none, we'll now present a video update on the Community Fund's annual report.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Embody, Chair of the Mid-Ohio Energy Community Fund Board. Please allow me to share an update of the Community Fund's activities and contributions for the past year. First, I would like to introduce my fellow Community Fund Board members. District 1, Shannon Kuhlman. District 2, Hillary Whirling. District 3, Sue Higgins. District 4, Amanda Byers. District 5, Rita Radway. District 6, Kip Criswell. District 7, Sharon Sanders. District 8, Dennis Swartz. And District 9, myself, Jennifer Embody. These individuals work to ensure community fund contributions make a positive difference in our communities. I would like to recognize 3 outgoing members of the Community Fund Board for their service. Curtis Byers, Amy Gregory, and Jolene Waitman. These 3 have each completed the term limit of 2 3-year terms on the Community Fund Board. We are grateful for the time and passion they've dedicated to getting the most out of the grant funds. The Community Fund has had a great impact throughout its history. In 2022, we awarded 33 grants totaling more than $42,000. The program was established to help individuals and communities. This year, Community Fund grants have helped schools, fire departments, youth sports groups, homeless shelters, food pantries, parks, literacy efforts, and more. In total, we've invested more than $717,000 back into our communities through the Community Fund. There have been a total of 608 grants given to date. Currently, 93% of cooperative members participate in the program, and I would like to thank those participants for their generosity. As you can see, your contributions make a real difference. By bringing together our local resources, the Community Fund delivers on the Cooperative's commitment to improve the communities where members live, work, learn, and play. Thank you.
As Jennifer mentioned, the Community Fund continues to be an excellent program to make a difference locally. With the outgoing Community Fund board members, Curtis Byers, Amy Gregory, and Jolene Waitman, please approach the stage if you're in attendance. As a token of our appreciation, we have a small gift to present to you. Additionally, the co-op has made a $100 donation in each of these individuals' names to a local nonprofit of their choice. For Curtis Byers, a donation to the Wyandotte County Council on Aging. For Amy Gregory, a donation to the Lebanon Outreach Center in Marion. For Jolene Waitman, a donation to the Waynfield Baptist Church Vacation Bible School. We thank each of you for your efforts to maximize the impact of the Community Fund grants. Next, we would like to introduce this year's scholarship winners as announced by Director of Communications and Marketing, Brian Barger.
If the scholarship winners here tonight wouldn't mind just making your way to the stage, and we can line up right there at the front. I'll go ahead and tell you guys a little bit about our scholarship program. It's definitely my pleasure to introduce this group this year. Let's see, our scholarship program recognizes outstanding high school seniors who are children of members with scholarships. This year, we awarded a total of $11,000 to these local students. And truly, I mean it when I say it, we had a lot of great applicants this year. In our territorial footprint, there's 23 portions of 23 school districts. And so it really says a lot about these students up here tonight. They're the best of the best. And it's amazing to see that they not only excel in their academics, but also are very involved in community clubs, service groups, and work. So they're balancing a lot of things, and so especially we appreciate you joining us here tonight, so it's great to see you. I'd like to announce the winners of this year's scholarships. As I call your name, if you'll please just kind of give a wave and step forward. We can hold our applause until we've announced everyone. I think we've got a great turnout here tonight. I'm not sure if we have all of our winners here. But starting with Carter Hale of Kenton High School. And actually, Carter was our overall winner, and he will be going down to our statewide competition actually tomorrow. So great luck tomorrow, Carter. Emma Dilley of Upper Sandusky High School. Lane Kanagi of River Valley. Jonah Bowdle of Pleasant. Riley Hunt of Kenton. Alexis Crone of Cardington. And Allison Harple, also of Kenton. So I'd like to recognize also this year's Touchstone Energy Achievement Scholarship. This recognizes students who's overcome some hardships on their way to that academic excellence, and that is Kenzie Cunningham of Upper Sandusky. Let's give all these students a round of applause. All right, thank you all for joining us here, and we did have a little special giveaway bag for you guys, so we really do appreciate it, and hope you'll keep us in touch, and the future's bright here. If you guys want it, you can go ahead and make your way back to the seats, and I just also wanted to make, as they make their way back, one more note. We do have each year our youth tour, as is a all expense paid trip to Washington, D.C., and we do have 2 students set to represent the co-op on this year's trip in June. That is Jevin Henderson of Ridgemont and Reagan Heights of Benjamin Logan. So we do wish them well on this year's trip, and if you know anyone that would be interested in that trip, it's really, we bill it as a once-in-a-lifetime trip, and it is a great time for those students to see our nation's capital and network and meet with their legislative representatives. So thanks again to our scholarship winners for coming tonight. We're proud to have them represent the co-op and wish you the best of luck in the future. Thank you.
Inserted in your registration bag is a pink annual meeting survey. We ask that you please take a minute to give us your opinion and drop it in the boxes as you exit. Your feedback plays an important role when it comes to planning your annual meeting. Thank you for your attendance and support of the Cooperative. It was truly great to have you join us tonight. At this time, I declare our meeting adjourned. Have a safe trip home.